There's a shot of the skateboard, a big air long jump. That's crazy stuff over there. That'll be going on live tomorrow afternoon. But right here, we're at the park course along with myself. I'm Jim Coleman, Steve Swope, and Lee Ramsdale. It's the bike park final here, and we're set to drop Chad Kagy. This guy's got a very interesting story. He broke his C5 and C6 vertebrae in his neck last year, attempting a double backflip over a box jump at the Gravity Games. He's been off the bike for 8 months, Steve.
He's had such a long recovery. Last night in vert, he blew everybody away with 4th place, almost medal, and even came up with a new trick. It was a bar spin to late tail whip. It was amazing. Chad looks confident, he looks strong, and I look for him to put it down here today.
You would have to wonder, after being back on the bike for 4 months or so, how it would affect his psyche, but he's been calm, cool, and collected his whole time out here with a big trick right there. That's the backflip tail whip, called the flip whip. Oh my goodness.
I was just going to say Chad is riding a little more conservative than normal, and then he throws that down.
So much for being a little nervous about the old neck injury right there. Now, if you're just joining us, the way this contest works, you get 2 runs, and it's your best run counts. The runs are 75 seconds long, and Chad is off to a great start. Our first 2 competitors actually had a couple of falls, so Chad's looking pretty good right now.
It's amazing this guy's walking. It's unbelievable. He's here at X Games competing only 8 months after that injury. He looks really good. Nice, full run, flowing lines, lots of big tricks, exactly what the judges are looking for. Hasn't wasted any time at all getting lost in the course.
And, you know, there's a lot at stake here. Chad's definitely a podium contender, but he's got some big dogs to go up against in this event, including Dave Mirra and Ryan Nyquist are going to be doing a little bit of battle. Dave hasn't won this event since 2000. Ryan's looking for a three-peat, and that's time right there. Chad Kagy with a job well done.
Amazing run for Chad. Really, look, he's got a big smile on his face. There's definitely got to be a little tension release for him. Take a look over the box jump. This is the tail whip backflip. It goes upside down while he spins the frame around 360 degrees. Only a handful of riders in the world can pull this off. Chad throwing it down in the biggest event of the year. Feet right back on the pedals, exactly what he wanted to do. Definitely a confidence builder for Chad.
I am extremely impressed with the level of his riding out here this weekend. Another thing we failed to mention during the run, he also injured one of his wrists yesterday in practice, and he was having some tough times with that, and he actually didn't ride in any park practice yesterday, so obviously not affecting him one bit. Only needs an 85.67 if he wants to take over the lead, if you can see by that graphic, and he only gets an 85.33 with that run right there. My goodness, he's only sitting in 2nd place after putting together a full run. Steve Swope, tell us, what are the keys to success here at Bike Stunt Park?
Judges definitely looking for a wide variety of tricks, and you've got to put them down back to back. They want to see some flowing lines. This course is so big, you can easily get lost. That wastes time and definitely loses speed, which doesn't allow you to go for the giant tricks. Definitely something the judges looking for.
Definitely going to have a lot if you're going to walk away with a gold medal around your neck this year. Coming up next, we've got Steve McCann. Stevie's got some big tricks. Another one of the Australian riders. Actually spends a lot of time up here in the U.S., living out in eastern Pennsylvania, Camp Woodward, training with Jamie Bestwick, Kevin Robinson, starting things off in the spine section of the course.
McCann has really focused on the big competition this year, and he's done very well. Definitely a competition rider. And you can see going for the giant turn down 720. That's a variation 720. Crosses the bars up in the middle of that, over the spine.
And he did that over the spine ramp. Once again, we talked about that earlier. Going over the spine ramp, I mean, you almost have to stay pretty much stationary in the air because you don't want to overshoot your landing.
And another big trick coming right back at the spine. There's 3 big tricks already. Nice bar spin to bar spin back on the 360. Steve McCann is on fire.
And another thing we haven't really touched on yet is the fact that a lot of guys in practice over the last couple of days have been having a tough time getting over that box jump. How about a bar spin backflip right there? He's still got 30 seconds left in his run. He's got several big things going on right now.
Thought this year, it's super competitive with this competition this year, more competitive than even, you know, a couple of years ago. It's going to take 4, 5, or even 6 big tricks to take home the gold in this event, and McCann's put some big ones down.
That was a 270 tail whip transfer up into the spine, not a full rotation to get around 360. And there's a little bit of time left on the clock, but as you like to say, Steve, this looks like a full pull for Mr. McCann, and a flare on the quarter pipe at the buzzer. Nicely done for Steve McCann, much to the approval of this crowd outside the Staples Center here.
He definitely upped the ante with this run. Take a look early in the run. McCann over the spine. It's the 720 turn down. Crossing up the bars, a variation 720. So hard to do. A 720 is hard to do at all. Not to mention over spine adding a variation. That is a 360 tail whip. Another very difficult variation. And here's the backflip with the bar spin. Again, McCann combining 2 and 3 tricks in each big move he does. Definitely going to score high with the judges.
Steve McCann is having a banner year competition-wise this season, and we've talked about this several times already. You need some big tricks, and there was an awful lot going on in that run right there. Getting back up to the restart area, getting ready for his second run coming up later. Once again, only needs an 85.67 to leave. Our first couple riders have had a tough go, and he's the first guy to score in the 90s, and he's our leader, and we're going to check back in with Sal Masekela right now.
Oh, I'd love to see those 90s, man, but
In his first run.
There's an overview of this huge course, and we're going to check out the leaderboard right now. In first place, the only rider to score in the 90s right now, we've got Steve McCann. We've had 4 riders go so far, and Stevie holding on to a 91.33. So that could change here shortly if Morgan Wade can put down a good run. He's had a couple of mechanical failures here over the last couple of days. He's had 2 broken chains and 2 flat tires. And like you said, Steve, he's got some big tricks, including that bike flip that I'm sure we'll see in this first run here.
Absolutely does. One of the leaders of the new school, one of the young guns, and he just rides nonstop. This guy will be on the course anytime practice is open.
Look how fast he slingshots through that bowl corner. Big transfer.
That's an opposite look back. Clicking it the other direction.
Having a little bit of trouble getting over the box jump, going the opposite direction on that one. And there's a 720 out of Morgan. We saw Steve McCann do a 720 on the spine. There's one over the box jump for Morgan Wade.
And he barely cleared the deck of the box jump, barely made it to the landing. And it really hurts when you land your back. And there's the bike flip.
He slipped off the pedals, had to drag the toes a little bit. That'll affect his score just a tad on the landing, not landing it clean, but still able to ride away from that one, stay on his bike, and keep his run going.
That's one of those holy grail tricks bike riders have been trying for years. There's a rider named Brad Blanchard from San Diego that tried it for so long. No one ever had it done. Morgan showed up a couple months ago at Woodward, and he has it dialed. Perfect. He almost makes it every time.
Another thing that's crazy about that one, too, he's wearing one glove. I don't know if you guys can see it from that vantage point. He's wearing one glove. There it is. It's on the right hand that he was gloveless there. And he wants his hand to get all sweaty because he wants to be able to slip that grip out of his hand to do that bike flip.
Spins it right around in his hand. Lands so low on that tail whip and really breaks up the flow of his run. Takes all his speed away, and that hurt a little bit, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a stinger. He had a couple of low landings, a couple of hang-ups, and that definitely threw off the pace of his run. But as we said time and again, it is best run count, so he can throw this one out and come back swinging and run, too.
This was a good run. I don't know if it's going to be a podium run or not, but he's got some big tricks here. 2 spins around. It's a 720. Riders getting this so dialed they can put it in the middle of the run, and check this out. Morgan's new move. No one's ever done it before. It's the bike flip. You flip it out from underneath you, wrap it around, hang on to it with one hand. You can see he's got no glove on that right hand to let it spin easier. Makes it back on. Who cares if he didn't make it onto the pedals? That's a new one, and we love it.
You can see by his reaction there, shaking his head a little bit. Maybe he looked like he got a little lost in the course. He was having some trouble out here the last couple of days in practice. He needs a 91.34 if he's going to take over the lead from Steve McCann. I personally don't think he's got enough to do it. He gets an 86.33, and that bumps him up into second for right now. Tough break for Mr. Wade. Coming up next, we've got our youngest competitor here in the Bike Park event, Ryan Guettler. And all I could say is watch out for this kid. He has got so many crazy tricks. And talking to you about it earlier, Steve, you think this guy is going to absolutely light it up right now.
He can, and I think he will. He doesn't have any problem riding a giant event with the biggest guns in the sport. Nerves don't seem to ever be a problem for Guettler. He's so focused, and he just plans his entire run. You can see he's got a trick on everything he touches. He's got everything dialed in.
Working some points here in the spine mini ramp section of the course with a big double tail whip transfer down out of that section of the course. That was 2 revolutions of the frame of the bike. The body and the handlebars don't move, and in a transfer line. No, listen, up on a 720.
Unbelievable. Double tail whip. I expected him to throw a single there, but not a double. He's so confident. Lands it clean, and then goes for a 720 over the box.
Seen a couple of guys in practice do tail whips out of there, but not a double. I didn't expect that at all.
Guettler is a wildcat. This guy came here to win.
360 tail whip over the spine right there.
loses some speed, lands a little bit low, but gets right back into his run. You definitely want to put down a huge volume of tricks. You can't spend a lot of time riding around the course. Guettler doing a very good job.
Well, he's still got a good chunk of time left here. The guys get 75 seconds. Now, the last 15 seconds is a bit of a pad, a bit of a buffer. You're not penalized if you don't use that last 15 seconds, but you got to get at least 60 in to have a full run.
After the buzzer, their last wall will count, or the next ramp they touch after the buzzer counts. Guettler with a huge run so far, plenty of big tricks, and he goes for, another 720, and almost goes down right at the buzzer.
Excellent, excellent first run for Ryan Guettler. Listen to the crowd. They're loving it. It is packed out here. It is standing room only outside the barricades.
Guettler throwing down big time. I would not want to be a judge today. This is so close. Big 720 over the box jump. Lands it nice and clean. Guettler right here over the spot with a backflip. Keeps his speed up. Nice landing near the top of the ramp. Great run for Ryan.
Throwing his arms up in the air. He's all fired up about that one, doing the old meet and greet, waving to the fans there. No nerves whatsoever. This is his first ever X Games. He's the rookie here. No nerves at all.
Dusting it off. Man, that's going to be a look at that.
Oh,
92.
and he gets a 92. We have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? The young gun taking the top of the leaderboard. Oh, my goodness. Ryan Guettler on top of things. But, hey, we've still got our two heavy favorites coming up, including last year's defending gold medalist, Mr. Ryan Nyquist. Actually, 2 years in a row defending gold medalist. Will he three-peat? We're going to find out coming up. Things have been getting heated up out here. We've had a couple of guys fired off, get some scores in the 90s. But right now, all eyes are going to be on this man, Dave Mirra. After last night's gold medal performance in vert, he is the all-time medal leader in X Games history.
Check it out last night, taking the gold invert with the giant. It's a backflip 180 with the tail whip. It's called the flare tail whip. That wasn't in his winning run. He took the best score in his first run, but he pulled the trick he wanted to.
And because of that performance last night, he now takes the lead in the overall X Games medal count, just one ahead of Tony Hawk. They were tied at 16. Dave now owns 17. And he could add another one to his trophy case out here this afternoon, Steve. He's looking to reclaim part gold. He won this event every year since its inception in 1996 up until 2000, but there was a changing in the guard in Philadelphia in 2001. Oh, and Dave is off to a rough start right here, trying to stall up on that sub-rail, or as we've dubbed it over the last couple of years, the hitching post. We've seen him have a lot of trouble with that in practice.
He fell on that a couple times in practice, as you said, and it looked like he really went down quite a few times, maybe a little bit hurt, and after last night, pretty rough to do that. 2 events in a row like that, and ouch.
Seeing a very uncharacteristic run out of Dave Mirra here. 2 shots at the sub-rail right there, and you could just hear that kind of took a little bit of the life out of this crowd. They were all fired up to see him come out swinging. Tough break for Dave here.
Again, the format is 2 runs, best run counts. You can throw your first run away and put down a good score in the second run. Dave obviously going to throw this one out.
Yeah, by no means is he out of the running here. He could definitely come out in run number 2 and just light this place up, but this one definitely not going to get him too far in the ranks.
He's the most experienced rider on course, obviously, with that much X Games hardware. He's the oldest at 30. He's 9 years older than Ryan Guettler and Gary Young.
What in the world is he going to do? Oh, my gosh, I can't believe he just tried to do that. He tried to backflip off the top of that wall ride. What is wrong with him?
That is insane. We've seen riders tail whip in off a giant bomb drop like that, but never a backflip. That was another history-making move Dave was going for, and he came pretty close, but took a pretty hard knock to his head.
That was a huge, huge drop right there.
Well, just a little insight of what he might be going for in a second run. Definitely going to throw this one out. Very uncharacteristic of Dave. Taking a look, very beginning of his run. Nice 360 whip to start off, but watch this. Up on the hitching post, misses his back wheel. You've got to lock your brake. It's called a foo-foo-noo. Lock your back brake and then come back in 180. Just could not stick it on top of that hitching post. Now off the top, watch this. The bomb drop backflip straight in. pretty much has that landed. He gets his wheels down, just slides out a little bit. This is so scary. On a transition, you're able to get the momentum of your bike to spin. Off a flat bunny hop like that, it's all muscle. I can't believe Dave just went for that.
After looking at that in the replay, he came so ridiculously close to making that. It looked like he just came in a little heavy on the right side, but I'm just absolutely amazed that he tried to do that. Gets a 79.66. Like I said earlier, by no means is he out of this one, and he can come back and run number 2, and he can still get himself a gold medal out here. Well, if you guys want to be a part of the X Games, you can do your part as well. Even though you're not in Los Angeles, you can log on to the internet. You can go to expn.com and you can be a part of our instant poll. The question is, will Ryan Nyquist win gold in bike, park, and dirt? Yes or no? Vote now on expn.com or text message your vote by dialing 3776 on your T-Mobile phone. Speaking of Mr. Nyquist, he's getting ready to drop right now. And he's going to tell us right now how to do a backflip.
What's up, I'm Ryan Nyquist. Today we're going to be doing a backflip. The best way to describe it is basically it's a backflip. I think a major thing is visualizing what I think it's going to feel like. Boys and girls, do not close your eyes when you're doing tricks. You want to be kind of centering your bike loose, not too tense, because that could lead to bad things. As you hit the lip, you kind of want to start leaning back a little bit, and then once you get to the top of it, you want to pull your handlebars with your arms, you want to kick with your feet and lean back with your butt over the back of your bike. It's already sending you in the motion to do a backflip, so just continue that motion. You got to feel where you're at in the air. Can't see anything. Don't panic. It's kind of an old saying in BMX, you lead it with your head and your body will follow. When you spot your landing and you can make sure you're going to land it, that's when everything's like, okay, like I was right, this is crazy. After you kind of get used to doing those blocks, the next step is to do it over something a little more difficult, which is the spine. I think the speed can be a lot different. The spine has maybe a foot deck on it, so you don't generally need that much speed to flip it. Spine's generally a lot slower rotation. Your paw's got quite a bit longer upside down because it is slow rotation, and you're coming a lot steeper than you would on a box. There's no halfway. You have to be 100% ready to either crash or hold it.
Getting the up-close and personal view of Ryan's helmet sweat right there. Gross. Similarities and comparisons between the box jump flip and the spine flip. There's Ryan's mom and dad, Ian and Joe Nyquist. And you'll see some backflips out of Ryan. You might even see some backflip variations. That was actually his brother Shay standing behind his dad right there as well.
Absolutely. Backflips have become so basic, they've almost always got to add a variation to it. Ryan with the 180 backflip. It's the corkscrew style flare to start it off big.
It was actually Chad Kagy that taught Ryan how to do backflips back in 1995 and said, hey, don't tell my mom.
Giant 720. Now watch him come right back. 360 going backwards over the box with a bar spin in there. It's called a truck driver. Ryan lighting it up already early in his run. That's a double truck driver, 2 spins with the bars. Ryan is just like a cat. He knows exactly where he is in the air at all times.
Well, he's off to a good start in this run right here, going for the toothpick on the Jersey barrier. That's where you stall up on the front peg.
Ryan's forte is putting together huge runs with giant tricks on almost every hit on the course. Doing exactly that again.
And he's still got 25 seconds left in this run. There's a lot going on. 540 right there on the quarter pipe.
And he slipped on that quite a few times during practice. Had to put a foot down, nailed it in his run.
The nose picks, that's stalling on the front tire up on that sub rail. There's 2 of those things on this course. You saw Dave Mirra have a little bit of trouble with the other one a little earlier. Ryan getting that trick down clean. He's still got 7 seconds. I don't know. He's eyeing something up.
You rarely see Ryan do this. He rarely breaks up the flow of his run, and he is out of time. He was eyeing up something big, though. Definitely look for him to go for that in a second run, whatever it was.
Out of time, and he looks like he's completely out of breath on that one. Mom and Dad clapping their hands for him. Crowd loving it.
This is going to be a nice go for Ryan. Taking a look. Here's the backflip with the variation. Nice bar spin over the spine. It's so hard to land the big loops over the spine. You've got to be super clean on that to keep your speed. And the nose pick on the hitching post. That's only 2.5 inches of platform to land on. Ryan locking the brakes, pulling it in clean, nailing his first run.
Ryan putting together a very, very nice run, but is it going to be enough to move him on top of the leaderboard? It's going to be real interesting right here, wasting the last 15 seconds or so of his run over there. Like we said, maybe wanting to eye something up, but he just looked winded, and he gets a 92.66, and no surprise, Mr. Nyquist on top of things once again, and much to the approval of this crowd out here. Papa Nyquist looking a little psyched about that one.
Ryan Nyquist, our leader, that is just too much firepower to deal with.
He's just huffing and puffing. We've gone through the first runs, and it is no surprise that Mr. Nyquist is up on top of things. But the big question is, will Dave Mirra come back and reclaim Park Gold? Well, back to the action here on the park course. Ryan Guettler set to drop for run number 2, but in the meantime, we're going to look at this leaderboard. Ryan Nyquist sitting on top of things. Ryan Guettler sitting comfortably in second place. Steve McCann's in third. Steve's already taken his second run, though, and Ryan getting ready to drop for run number 2, and Dave Mirra also has a second run coming up here, Steve.
Guettler is a trick machine, and what really surprised me, he's such a young gun. Really just very little experience in the big competitions. Doesn't bother him at all. He has absolutely no nerves, has his run completely planned before he starts, and he just nails every trick.
Starting off on the sub rail and then going for the 360 tail whip over the spine there.
Smokes the double tail whip again. Pulled that off in his first run, and just a perfect duplicate of that over the box. And this is an opposite rotation 720. If you can throw a baseball with your right hand, try throwing with your left hand. All riders naturally turn one direction, and that was in his opposite direction. Unbelievable to even spin a 360. Goes for a 720, and that was a regular direction 720.
Just having a little bit of trouble clearing that box jump. There's a 360 whip over the spine next to the box jump. Having a little bit of trouble clearing that box jump over there. Guys have had some issues with that one. It's really hard to get speed to clear that thing. It's a big jump.
Slowing down his run just a little bit, but he's put down so many big tricks. And in contrast to Ryan just goes non-stop for 75 seconds. He's got big stuff on every ramp he hits. Youngest just got a little bit lost there, but he's back into it now.
He's our youngest competitor out here at the park event. You'd think with being that young and having to compete against some of the big names like Mirra and Nyquist, he'd have a little bit of nerves, but no jitters as we saw in run number 1. Having a tough time here in the second run. He's definitely going to go with his first run score.
Just a little bit of trouble. That first run score is going to have to stick. You know, Ryan's already got that beat. Here's the volcano. Nice tail whip, landing perfectly on the pedals, keeping your speed and the flow of the run going. And over the spine, we've got the 360 tail whip. It's a 360 rotation while you're spinning the frame 360 degrees also. Ryan, again, perfect execution on almost all of his big moves.
Trying to bust out some big tricks and having a little bit of trouble there. Looks like he wants to give something else a go right here.
And this is after the clock. It will not count, but definitely wants to put something big down. We'll see what he's got.
Well, like Steve just said, this is after time. This will not count his run. This is all about the glory. Wow!
I think he was trying a 720 tail whip. That'd be 2 rotations and a single rotation with the frame of the bike. Never seen that before, and that was off the clock, did not count.
Yeah, he's definitely going to throw this one out. He's going to go with his first run score, and he's looking at a silver medal right now if this holds. We still have a couple other guys yet to ride there. That's going to bring up one of our 3 last riders here, Gary Young. So far, he's kind of on the bubble. He's 1 spot shy of a podium placing. He's in 4th place with a 90.66. See what he's got for run number 2, Steve.
Well, he's definitely got the best lines on the course. Gary rides very fast, and what we mean by that is just high speed in every direction. He's got some very unique transfer lines going from ramp to another ramp.
Well, stamina is a big issue when you're out on a course of this size for 75 seconds, and stamina no problem for Gary Young. He's actually a long-distance runner.
Gary taking home a medal last year in his 2nd X Games appearance. This year's his 3rd. Almost a local out of San Diego. Got a lot of fans up here.
Walked away with a silver medal last year. There was a big tail transfer into that curved wall ride corner.
And that's exactly what we're talking about when Gary has some unique and original lines. Taking a tail whip air, doing a transfer into a wall ride. Oh, and barely hanging on to that fufanu. His back wheel almost slipped off. Exactly what Mirra had trouble with in his first run.
Look how much he's done in this run already, and he still has about 25 seconds left.
So funny when you see Gary after a run, he's barely even winded. He's in such good shape. Big transfer there, and almost over the top of that giant wall ride.
The box up with the 360 tail whip right there. Perfect execution on that one. Getting the frame of the bike all the way around. Feet back on the pedals. Clean landing.
He's going to call it right there. That was a great run for Gary. I just don't know if he has the difficulty to get up there in front of McCann. Crowd is definitely loving it. Check this out on the transfer onto the wall ride with the tail whip. Very unique line. Have never seen anybody do that. Gary Young has always got something special planned. And this is the 360 tail whip. We've seen quite a few today. Gary stomping it, just a little slip of the pedal. We'll see what the judges think. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough difficulty to get him up there.
I'd have to agree with you. He's a little bit behind Steve McCann. So we'll see what the judges think here. Like you said earlier, Steve, I don't know if it was enough to get him up there. It's going to be a tough call. I'm glad I'm not one of the judges. Look, he's not even winded. After 75 seconds out there, he's not even huffing and puffing at all.
First time I met Gary in an event, the venue was approximately 20 miles away, and he rode his bike from the airport to the venue.
He gets a 91.66. Oh, my goodness, and he bumps Steve McCann out of a medal spot. He is now sitting in third place. Excellent job for Gary Young. Hey, coming up, we still got our two big dogs. Dave Mirra had a little bit of a find out for the medal, and will it be a gold?
Pulls off exactly what he went down on in his first run, right on the hitching post. Nice move over the volcano.
Starting off a little slow here. He got over the hump that he had in run number one, but definitely at a slow pace if he wants to jump up into a podium spot.
There's no second run safety net here. He has to put it down. Taking a vert gold last night in bike vert.
Well, you can see that angle from the T-Mobile Stratacam right there as he launches over the box jump with a big ice pick up on the wall ride. That's stalling on the back peg, and that is a very tall wall ride.
That's got to be approximately 12 feet above the floor.
Whoa! How about that for a save? He didn't mean to do that, but hey, make a trick out of it.
That's why we call him the Miracle Boy. He just seems to land something crazy. Got totally off his line and does a fufanu into that curve section. Unbelievable he pulls that off. Just unbelievable improvisational skills.
Just going with the flow and keeping the flow of his run going at this point. I mean, that was ridiculous.
This is why Dave is the most decorated X Games athlete in the history of the X Games. He just is able to put something together out of nothing. When he thinks he's in trouble, turns it into something beautiful.
Well, he needs a miracle to jump up to the top of the leaderboard. There's the buzzer as he gets out on the deck over there by the other wall ride. I don't know if that's going to be enough, Steve.
You know, I have no idea. There's something about Dave's riding, and it just keeps you guessing all the time. I don't want to be a judge right now. Absolutely not.
Dave rolling out to the other side of the stage there.
Check this out, over the spine. The big tail whip backflip. That's an upside-down rotation while he spins the frame of the bike 360. Totally got off his line. Just pulled this out of nowhere. Nice little fufanu back in. Most riders would have gone down there, had to restart the run. Dave keeps it flowing.
Well, this is going to be real interesting. He started off that run all the way down in ninth. We're going to see, we're waiting for the scores to come in. We're going to see if this moves him up at all. He needs a 92.67 to take the lead over from his buddy Ryan Nyquist, and he gets a 94. Oh my goodness, we're looking at another possible come from behind win here at X Games number 10. We thought Ryan might have been able to cruise with this one, but oh man, the pressure's on once again for Ryan Nyquist.
94 is a huge score, Jimmy. That is going to be tough. Ryan has the ingredients, but that is going to be tough.
He definitely has the skills to do it, but there was a quote from him at last year's X Games. He says he always seems to wind up in these incredible pressure-filled moments, and here we go. He is on course, everybody, with the corkscrew flare on the quarter pipe.
Mirra had the longest winning streak in Park. 5 years. Mirra's going, Nyquist may have a three-peat here.
We'll see. There's a 720 over a very difficult section of the box jump.
Going backwards over the box jump, landing in the steeper takeoff of the 360. Huge ice pick, exactly what Dave pulled off. Such a hard trick. Wow, Ryan is on fire, just back-to-back moves.
He wants that three. He doesn't want to give this one up without a fight. Oh, my goodness, going down on a 720 attempt over the spine, and he calls timeout right there. You are allowed to do that as long as you haven't eclipsed the 45-second mark in your run.
You're allowed to call a technical timeout if you have a bike malfunction. You have 2 minutes to fix your bike or grab a new one. Ryan went down on a 720 bar spin. That would have been a new 720 variation we haven't seen before. Spin the bars with 2 rotations, and you can see he's got something wrong with his back wheel or a flat. And again, it's a technical time or malfunction timeout. He's allowed to call timeout to fix his bike. He only has 2 minutes to fix his bike or get another one.
Well, that's what he's doing right here. He's got someone else's bike. We've seen him do this before at the last year in Philadelphia, the 2002 X Games. That's exactly what he did. He borrowed Alan Cook's bike and still did a 720 over the spine there. He's got 39 seconds left in his run. The clock is frozen. Like you said, Steve, he gets 2 minutes.
It's so hard to jump on someone else's bike and roll in and get something done. Everybody, even though they look the same,
how about this? He's on Dave Mirra's bike. How about this? These guys are battling out for first, and Dave coughs up his bike.
Dave has no front brakes on his bike. Ryan always runs front brakes, but this is just not normal to be able to do something incredible on somebody else's bike. They're all set up different. But, Jimmy, this is going to be tough for Ryan to beat that 94 of Mirra. He'd almost have to be flawless to beat that, but we'll see what he's got.
What you're seeing right there, that was him motioning a couple of the cameramen to get out of the way. He's going to try something else in this line. Oh, man.
720, and he almost clipped the spine with his head. My gosh, that was so close.
He looked like he shoulder checked the corner and spine ramp right there.
That was huge, and Nyquist knowing he has to roll the dice big time if he wants to up his score. And you know what this means, Jimmy. He's not going to beat Mirra's score.
He's going to stay in second place with this score, and that means Dave Mirra is going to reclaim part gold out here, it looks like. Time winding down.
Looks like Ryan's going to call it. Here's a look at that last trick on Mirra's bike. It's the giant 720 transfer trying to go into the spine. Wow, so close, almost going to pegs on that. So close to almost having that, just not quite there. Wow, and that is a huge gamble, and that's the kind of trick you can really get injured on.
Well, we've said it a couple times already. He's obviously going to throw this one out, and he's going to have to go with his first run score. That's going to leave him in second place on the afternoon. Won't be getting a gold medal out here this afternoon, but he's still got another shot at it tomorrow in the dirt jumping competition. Dave Mirra with a score of 94.
And you know what that means, Jimmy? 13 gold.